Hello everyone, and welcome to Recap V. Today we'll be talking about an action war movie called T-34. The title references the T-34, a World War II-era Soviet medium tank used during the defense of the Soviet Union. The film is directed by Alexei Sidorov. T-34 was released in Russia by Central Partnership on January 1, 2019, and for hire converted into IMAX format. Watch out for spoilers and let us begin. The movie starts off in November 1941, just outside Moscow. Red Army Junior Lieutenant Nikolay Ivushkin is driving a ramshackle truck and trailer, with a young private beside him. A German Panzer III tank appears over a hill and opens fire on them. Nikolay, who has been trained as an armor officer, maneuvers skillfully, and they escape injured, but alive. Nikolay is assigned to command a damaged T-34 tank, whose commander was killed, with orders to delay the Germans' advance with only the single tank, and a small number of supporting infantry. He meets with his crew and assembles them to prepare the tank, while he and the sergeant go to prepare a plan. In the morning, they hide and wait for the Germans in a small village. When the Germans approach, they spot the infantry and start to attack them, as they are distracted with the infantry. Nikolay attacks them from the side, destroying 2 tanks with 1 shot. The Germans start to move their turret to attack them, while Nikolay manages to destroy another one of their tanks, and then moves backwards, to go hide in the village. As they hide in a wooden home, they manage to destroy 2 more of the enemy tanks, but as they are leaving, one of them is waiting outside, hitting them from the side. But thankfully the shell doesn't pierce the armor, but as they are moving backwards from that tank, and trying to reload, the commander of the Panzer's platoon Klaus Jäger, waits for them and fires at the turret, penetrating the tank and killing the assistant driver. The others survive but start to panic. Nikolay calms the situation. And then they start to attack the enemy tanks again, destroying the 6th one. While they do that, another Panzer tries to shoot them, but one of the infantry throws an anti-tank grenade at it, destroying its barrel. Now, in the end, they start the duel against Jäger's command Panzer. They manage to get a hit on the Panzer, wounding one of the crewmen, and then they go behind a house and wait for the Panzer to come out on the right side of it. But Jäger figures out what Nikolay is trying to do, and goes on the other side of the house. Now with a clear shot, they hit the T-34 on its side, piercing it, and killing the loader. Nikolay and the driver manage to survive, so Nikolay starts to move the turret at the Panzer, while Jäger commands his gunner to hit the T-34's oil tank. They both shot at the same time and both destroyed their tanks. Nikolay, driver Stepan, and Jäger survive. But Nikolay and Stepan get captured. 3 years later, in 1944, we see a Nazi train taking prisoners to a prison camp. There the commander orders them to kneel down. They all do so except one person. And then we see that is Nikolay. The commander goes to ask for his name, with the help of a translator, Anya, which is also a Russian prisoner. But Nikolay decides to ignore his question. So they start to torture him. Then we see Jäger, now a Standartenführer, gains permission from Reichsführer SS Heinrich Himmler, and General Heinz Guderian, to recruit an experienced tank crew of Soviet prisoners in a concentration camp to act as opponents, for training the 12th SS Panzer Division Hitlerjugend. Then as Jäger is looking through documents of tank commanders, he spots Nikolay's photograph, and recognizes him. Jäger goes to see Nikolay, and tells him that he is sentenced to death, and also tells him that he can give him another chance if Nikolay agrees to train the German soldiers. Nikolay refuses, but then Jäger threatens to kill Anya if he doesn't agree. Having no way out, he agrees. So the next morning they take him and all the prisoners outside for Nikolay to pick his crew. There, he sees his former driver Stepan Vasilyanik, which he picks, and 2 other men, loader Serafim Ionov, and gunner Demyan Volchik. Then, the 4 of them are sent to another place, where the Germans reveal a T-34 with an 85mm gun, which is able to pierce and destroy most of the German tanks. Nikolay explains to the team what they'll be doing. At first, the other tankers refuse to take part, but Nikolay says he has a plan to escape, and Anya also hears what they are planning. Jäger commands Nikolay to repair the tank in a week. After this, they go inside the tank, and there, they find dead Soviet soldiers, and Nikolay also finds 4 armor-piercing shells and 2 fragmentation ones. Nikolay asks Jäger if they could give their dead comrades a proper burial. Jäger agrees. So outside, they hide the shells under the clothes of the dead soldiers, and bury them on an open field. Then they start to repair the tank, and prepare the plan to escape. After they are finished, the team is sent outside to demonstrate how the tank functions, which impresses the Nazis. Not trusting Nikolay, Yiga orders anti-tank mines laid around the entirety of the training grounds. Anya overhears him and wanting to escape, she goes to tell Nikolay, and convinces him for her to go with them since she can steal the map from Yiga's office, showing a safe route out of the area. The next morning, before the training exercise, Nikolay and his crew retrieve the munitions and create a smokescreen to mask their movements. Believing the T-34 is unarmed, the Germans are unprepared when the trainees' first Panther tank is knocked out. As Yiga and the others are looking for the T-34, Nikolay manages to flank them, firing directly into the observation tower, killing most of the officers inside, except for Yiga and Guderian, who jump out at the last second. As this was happening, Anya stole the map from Yiga's office, and gained a pass letting her out of the camp for a day. The crew boldly storms through the training grounds, cars parked, and break through the main gate. The tankers pick up Anya at a bus stop outside the camp. With her map, Nikolay plots a course toward Czechoslovakia and back to the Red Army's lines. In the first town they come to, Nikolay and his hungry crew find badly needed fuel, new clothing, and fresh food. They burn their ragged prisoner clothes as they drive out of town. As they are moving through the highway, they get attacked by a German anti-tank gun. They manage to escape it by going through the forest. Yiga is told of what happened, and takes to the sky in a Fessler stork to find Nikolay's T-34. As he is flying, he finds the T-34 tracks. Calculating where they might be, he takes command of 4 Panthers and prepares an ambush in the small town of Klingtal. Then we are sent back to the crew, and we see that they had stopped to take a break. At first, Nikolay suggests abandoning the tank and splitting up, believing they have a better chance of survival if they separate, but the crew insists on staying with him. He agrees, and then they go to a nearby lake to clean up. They also decide to take rest for the night, going to sleep. As they are sleeping, Yiga approaches the small town of Klingtal. They hear the tanks and wake up. Nikolay then puts Anya out of their tank, and tells her to make her way east on foot, through the forest, and meet them on the other side of town. Then they take the T-34, and go to the town to fight against Yiga and his small platoon of Panthers. The T-34 enters the town and stumbles into the first of the 4 Panthers. Instead of trying to pierce its front armor, Volchik fires a shot under its hull that ricochets off the pavement and penetrates its underbelly. Nikolay realizes they are surrounded by the remaining 3 Panthers, including Yiga's. Knowing they need to distract the other crews, he sends out Volchik, armed only with a grenade. To disable one of them, he manages to throw the grenade into the Panther. Then as soon as the grenade explodes, Vasilyanik crashes their T-34 through building walls before unexpectedly colliding with one of the other Panthers. The Russians manually turn their damaged turret and get a shot off just as the Germans are about to fire, destroying the Panther. Meanwhile, the 2 other Panthers have arrived on the scene and one takes aim at their tank. However, Volchik manages to fire a shell out of the German tank he just captured. The 3rd Panther is disabled, but Yiga quickly disposes of the captured Panther, badly wounding Volchik. After this, both Yiga and Nikolay emerge from the cupolas of their tanks. Yiga throws down his glove, inviting Nikolay to a duel. Nikolay asks for 5 minutes to pick up the wounded Volchik. Yiga agrees, and then, both tanks move outside the town and face off over a narrow stone bridge across the river. As the tanks charge at each other, Yiga fires several shots at the T-34, but fails to disable it, while Nikolay waits to fire their last shell directly through the driver's vision port. Just like they did in 1941, the 2 tanks fire simultaneously, badly damaging but not disabling each other. Out of ammunition, Nikolay orders Vasilyanik to ram Yiga's tank, pushing it to the edge of the bridge. Yiga crawls out of his Panther while Nikolay aims a stolen rifle at him. Yiga shouts for Nikolay to shoot him, but Nikolay offers his foe mercy. Yiga extends his hand and the 2 adversaries exchange a handshake of respect. Nikolay tries to pull Yiga to safety, but Yiga lets go, allowing himself to fall to his death as his Panther tips over the bridge and plummets into the river. With their tank's tracks disabled, the crew reunites with Anya outside the town, carrying the wounded Volchik on a makeshift stretcher, and they make their way towards the Russian lines on foot. And this is where the movie ends. Hope you all enjoyed this recap. Make sure to leave a like, comment on what you think about it, and don't forget to subscribe so I can make more recaps of movies, TV shows, animes, etc. See you all on the next video.